Um, so previously we have seen the plate tectonics and what is convection current and the continental drift. Am I audible clearly?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. So in the first module, we had continental drift and the plate tectonics, the interior of the Earth, and the convection current. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Convection current and the movement of the plate boundaries. So this movement of the plate boundaries is defined, is classified into three types. One is spreading ridges or divergent boundary. The second one, convergent boundary. In this, the subduction boundary and collision boundaries are there, and transform boundary. So these three types of movement of plate boundaries also we have seen in the last lecture. And the example of the collision boundary, so that is our the Himalayan movement of the Himalayan movement of the Indian plate. So that also you've seen in last class. And this is one of the example of transform boundary. So in this transform boundary, here these two plates move will in terms of the shear action. Okay, so as plates move around on the Earth's surface, there are places where rather than converge or diverge, the plates grind past each other. Okay, so this is that this is one of the kind of the transform boundary. So this may occur as perpendicular offsets at spreading boundaries or as the boundary itself. Okay, so the most well-known the example of this type of the transform boundary is the San Andreas Fault in California. So this is that transform boundary, the example of transform boundary where it is observed in San Andreas Fault, okay, in California. So what is elastic rebound? So this is the main cause of the formation of the earthquake or occurrence of the earthquake. So in this elastic the rebound, so the strain will be built up due to the continuous collision of the two plates. Okay, so the strain or the stress will be in the build up at a particular location when the strain level exceeds. Okay, so this is that the original position of the fault. Now due to continuous movement of the plates, continuous collision of the plates, the strain will be built up at the one location. That is the buildup of the strain. So this the right side, the example you can see clearly. So first, if you take the stick, okay. So this is the original position. Now, if you the bend it, the strain will be built at the center of this one, the center of the middle of the stick. So at one particular point where the permissible the strain level exceeds, okay, or the strain applied, the strain developed in the material exceeds the permissible strain level, so the rupture will take place. So that is the cause of the sudden the release of the earthquake energy. Okay, so that is sudden release of the energy. So because of that, there will be a then again it will come back to its the original position. Okay, so when sudden the release of the energy occurred, after that the plates will or the plate will come back to its the original position. Okay, original shape, not at the original plate, original place, but at the original position. Okay. So after that, the strain released, so the earthquake will occur. Okay, the vibration will the start. So this is also another example of this elastic rebound. Initially, the fault at the one place. Now, due to the continuous, this is that example of the transform boundary. So the strain will be built up at this junction of these two boundaries. Okay. So at one point of the time, the sudden release of the energy will happen. So because of that, the location of this fault will change. So this sudden release will cause the vibration of the vibration of the plates or vibration of the ground. Okay. So which is called as the earthquake. Okay. And then this is also this figure also you can see the sudden release of the energy is happening inside the earth. So now how the plate movement or the fault plates will move. Okay. So here this is if your the plates are moved in along the lateral direction, then it is strike slip. Okay. If the plates are moved the vertical, along the vertical direction of the plates, then it is dip direction. So dip slip. Okay. So another one direction is there. It is the combination of these two. So that is strike slip. The oblique movement. So in this figure you can see clearly. So as already mentioned, if the plate movement is in vertical direction, okay, so that is called dip slip. And if it is in the lateral direction, then that is strike slip. And the combination of these two, strike as well as in the upward also, the vertical direction also, the plate movement is exists. So this kind of fault rupture is called oblique fault rupture. So after occurrence of the earthquake, how the faults created. So you can see here the formation of the new land. So this is called the dip slip, and this is strike slip. Okay. And here also you can see if previously the fence at this location, now it is moved to the somewhere away from that. It is because of the strike slip. Now, because of this formation of the earthquake or occurrence of the earthquake, the waves will generate. Okay, so it will start vibrating the ground or the plates. So because of this vibration, the waves will, earthquake waves or the seismic waves will be generated. Okay, so the waves will travel inside the ground. So the seismic waves which travel inside the earth or inside the ground, so that is called body waves. And another one, some of the waves will be reflected, and it will travel to the top of the surface of the earth itself. So those waves are called surface waves. Okay, so again these body waves are again classified into two types. One is compression waves. Here the particle movement will be in pushing and pulling manner only. So another waves, it is shear waves. So here this is compression waves, and another one shear waves. See, these two compression and shear waves are will be coming under body waves category. And another one, so here you can see this is the example of the compression wave. So you can see how the movement of the particle is happening during this earthquake. Okay, so all the particles will be compressed along the direction of the propagation. And the velocity of this P waves or primary waves or compressional waves can be estimated using this formula. So Vp is equal to square root of E into 1 minus nu divided by rho into 1 plus nu into 1 minus 2 nu, where E is nothing but elastic modulus of this material, elastic modulus of the soil material, and nu is the Poisson ratio of that material, and rho is the density of the soil material. So if you know these properties, you can find out primary wave velocity of the primary wave, or velocity of the compression wave, or in short P waves. So next one, the same during this earthquake is of course in body waves. Again we have S waves. In short, it is S waves, but it is a shear waves. So this the velocity of this shear wave, that is shear wave velocity, can be calculated using this formula, that is E divided by 2 rho into 1 plus nu. So we know that E divided by 2 into 1 plus nu is called G, shear modulus of the material, the soil material. So that is G is equal to E. This is the relation, E, G and nu relation that you would have studied in your the strength of material of solid mechanics. So if you know these properties, elastic modulus of the material and density, Poisson ratio of the soil material, you can find out the shear wave velocity of that of the soil medium. So you can see the movement of that soil particle during this earthquake. Okay. So during this wave, so it will be in a rolling manner. Okay, you can see up and down along the direction of the propagation. But these waves will travel not along the direction of the propagation, but in a transverse direction. So either it may be in vertical direction, but also in the lateral direction, not along the longitudinal direction of the movement. And next type is surface waves. As already said, P waves and S waves, that means primary waves and shear waves, will travel inside the air, inside the soil medium. That's why they are called body waves. So some of the earthquakes, some of the waves will travel on surface of the earth. Okay. So those waves are called surface waves. And again, these surface waves are classified into two types. One is Rayleigh waves, and another one Love waves. So Rayleigh waves are again, in short, we can call it R waves. Love waves can be called as L waves. So here you can see the particle motion is in the rolling one. It is the combination of S waves and vertical shear waves, and P waves. You can see the particle motion. It is compression manner also there. At the same time, the rolling is also there. Rolling of the particle motion. You can see here this one, rolling of the particles, Rayleigh wave. And another one, Love wave. You can see in transverse direction, the particle movement is happening. So this is the example of the L waves. So these surface waves will cause the destruction of the buildings which are existing at the surface of the ground, okay, surface of the earth. So these surface waves are very dangerous earthquake waves or the seismic waves. You can see the comparison of all these four earthquakes, four waves. One is the direction of this earthquake. The P waves are the along the direction of propagation. That means along longitudinal direction. And S waves will travel transverse to this P waves. Okay, so transverse to the P waves, either in the lateral direction, perpendicular lateral direction, or in vertical direction. Okay. So in any of these two directions, the F waves will travel. And R waves, we know that it is the combination of P and vertical shear waves. Okay. So it is a combination of P and vertical shear waves, because you have seen that it is pushing the particle. Okay. It is P waves are nothing but it is also called as compressional waves. It will push the particle, push and pulling manner, push and pulling behavior of the particle will be happening in terms of P waves. In the same, it is a combination of pushing and pulling behavior of this compression wave and shear wave in vertical direction. Okay. And here it is transverse direction. Okay, in transverse direction, similar to this S wave, but it is confined to outer skin of the crust. Okay, it is confined to outer skin of the crust. You can see you would have seen, we already seen this, the example, the animations we already seen. And P waves will travel through the solids and fluids also, but S waves, shear waves, will travel only through solids. And other names are P waves are primary waves or compressional waves. S waves are called as shear waves. And R waves is of course Rayleigh waves. L waves are Love waves. The behavior, it is pushing and pulling behavior of the particles. And R waves, it is rolling around the ground. It will rolling around the ground, it will move the ground up and down and side to side. Okay. So you see this animation, the Rayleigh waves, it will roll around and up and down, and at the same time pushing and pulling of the particles also happening. So rolling around the ground, move the ground up and down and side to side also. It will move the ground from side to side. You see here only the side to side, it will move the ground. So, and another one, movement of waves, direction of the particle movement. Direction of the particle movement, the waves will travel. Here, the movement of the waves, how the waves will travel. It is direction perpendicular to the particle motion, and it is either in vertical and horizontal direction. And here, direction of the particle, the waves will travel along the direction of the particle. And here, it is horizontal motion. Love waves. The velocity of P waves is 4.8 km per second. S waves is 3 km per second. So by seeing these two, the fastest wave is P waves. It will be felt by the dogs and birds, and animals can feel this P waves. And second fastest and larger than P waves. So the dangerous waves are the S waves, and most of the shaking felt from the earthquake due to R waves. So these are the comparison of P, S, R, and L waves. And some of the terminology related to the earthquake is the point where the energy released, the point where the energy built up, and after the elastic rebound, the energy will be released from one point. That point is called hypocenter or focus. Okay? So that point is hypocenter or focus. From that point to, there will be one station. There will be one station to record the uh, the ground motion vibration. Okay, so the ground vibration. So that is called the station. So from the point of the focus to that the recording station, that the distance is called hypocentral distance. So there will be one point directly above the focus, which is placed at the ground surface itself. Okay, the point which is present on the ground directly above the focus. So that is called epicenter. That is called epicenter. So the distance between this epicenter and the recording station, the recording site, so that is called epicentral distance. Okay, so that is called epicentral distance. So there are three the terms we need to know which are related to earthquake. So one is the focus, the point where the energy released. So that is called focus or hypocenter, and the distance between focus and the recording station. So that is called hypocentral distance. And another one, the point which is placed directly above the focus and which is present on the ground surface. So that is called epicenter. And the distance between epicenter and the recording station is called epicentral distance. So now the determination of the hypocenter value, where S is nothing but the distance from hypocenter to observation point. Observation point is nothing but that the recording station. Now T is the difference in time of arrival of P and S waves. Okay, so difference in time of P and S wave, that is the difference in that is T, this one, and V is shear wave velocity, and P is the compressional wave velocity or primary wave velocity. So at the recording station, a difference in time of arrival between P waves and S waves was observed to be 1.5 second. Okay, the difference in time of these two is 1.5 second. What is the approximate distance from the station at which the event occurred? Okay. So that is the hypocentral the distance we need to find out now. Assume P wave velocity as 4 km per second and S wave velocity as 2 km per second. You directly substitute in that so that we can get the value of S. Now, how to record the earthquake? So the instruments which are used to measure the ground displacements and the vibration are called seismographs. Okay, so it is not a graph; it is an instrument. A seismograph is an instrument to measure the earthquake vibration. The record obtained from this seismograph, this instrument, is called seismogram. Okay, so don't get confused with the words seismograph and seismogram. Seismograph is an instrument, seismogram is a plot, seismogram is a graph. Okay, so here there will be a pendulum, and below that there will be a pen attached to this pendulum. The heavyweight pendulum will be there. Okay, and it will be fixed to the string, and below that a drum will be the running throughout. Okay, when there is a shaking, when there is a ground shaking, this drum also will be moving. So during that time, this will what is called the movement of the ground will be recorded using this pen and the rotating drum. Okay, so you can see here. So this is for horizontal. You see here, this is for horizontal. This is for vertical movement. You can just search in YouTube. There are so many videos available. how this seismograph records the seismogram. Okay. There's a frame and there's a base plate, and there will be a string attached to the pendulum. So during earthquake, the seismogram will be measured. Yeah. So you can see here there is a rotating drum, and during this ground movement, this pen will record this ground acceleration and movement also. We will take. Are you able to watch this video?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Okay. So next one, size of earthquake. So how do we measure the earthquake? So there are two scale. So using two scale, we can measure the earthquake. One is intensity and another one magnitude. So the intensity of an earthquake refers to the degree of destruction caused by it. Okay, so the amount of destruction the earthquake caused to the society. So based on that, the intensity is measured. So the measure of severity of the shaking of the ground and its attended damage. Okay. So there are around four the scale. One is MMA scale, MSK scale, RF, and JMA scale. MMA, it is nothing but modified Mercalli intensity scale. So we refer in our IS code, we refer this MMA scale only. So based on that only, the codal recommendations are defined. And another one, MSK scale, it is Medvedev Sponker Karnik scale, that is in short MSK scale, and RF Rossiferal scale, GMA Japanese Meteorological Agency scale. Okay. So, and another one which is related to this seismic intensity, an imaginary line joining the points of same intensity of the earthquake is called isoseismo. Okay. So we know ISO is nothing but the same value. Okay. And since it is related with intensity, so it is called isoseismal. And so how do we measure this MMA scale? Whether MMA is of how much? Okay, in what is the value? So that can be calculated using these formulas. So where VG is nothing but peak ground velocity. So we can obtain from this seismogram, we can obtain three plots. One is it is with respect to time in x-axis, and in y-axis acceleration. Okay, so acceleration versus time, and another one velocity versus time, and third one displacement versus time. So these three are ground movement during the earthquake. Okay, so all these three are ground movement during the earthquake. So one is ground displacement versus time, ground velocity or that plate velocity, ground velocity versus time, and third one ground acceleration versus time. So like that, three records we can obtain during the earthquake from this seismograph. Okay, so now in a velocity plot, velocity versus time plot, there will be a maximum velocity. Okay, so that maximum velocity is called peak ground velocity. Okay, so it can be in the unit of either meter per second, mm per second, or centimeter per second. So, but you have to substitute this value to find the modified Mercalli intensity value. Okay, so in centimeter per second only you have to substitute here. Okay, so another such relation which was reported by some other researcher. So based on California earthquake data, it is MMA is equal to 3.47 log of VG, that is peak ground velocity, plus 2.35. And another one is also given, Another empirical relation is also given. So these are all those intensity values. One is modified Mercalli, MMI scale, Rossiferal scale, MSK scale, and JMA scale. So in MMI scale, we have 12 intensity scales are given. So in Rossiferal, you can see 10. In MSK scale also 12 are there, but first 3 are removed for their measurements. So because it will be of very less destruction would be there, because only just the vibration would have been felt, and only the objects from the table or the walls would have been dropped down. So such kind of the thing will be there from the beginning, from the start of the intensity value. And another one, JMA value, it is ranging from 1 to 7. So let us see what does the value of MMA scale with respect to the and its definition also. So one is MMA scale 1, it is not felt except by a very few under specially favorable circumstances. Okay, so not felt except by a very few under specially favorable circumstances. And the MMA scale 2 is, it is felt only by a few persons at rest people, and especially on upper floors of the buildings, and uh, delicately suspended objects may swing. Okay, some of the objects will swing during the earthquake, but very minor, very small vibration. Because of the small vibration, some of the objects which will be swing, and felt quite noticeably indoors, especially on upper floor of the buildings. But many people do not recognize it as an earthquake. So standing motor cars may rock slightly, and vibrations may be felt like the passing of the truck. And the fourth one, during the day felt indoors by many. During the day felt indoors by many and outdoors by a few. At night, some awakened dishes, windows, the doors disturbs, walls make creating sound, and sensation like a heavy truck striking the building, and the standing motor cars rock noticeably. So like that. Okay, so you can see from the MMA scale ranging from 1 to 12 how it is being defined. Okay, so based on that, the recommendations are given in IS code. So now another one, the size of the earthquake. So one is with respect to the amount of the destructions caused to the society. So that is intensity. And here let us see the last one, 12th one, the total damage. Waves seen on ground surfaces, the lines of the site and the leaves distorted. Okay, so the levels, sorry, lines of sight and levels distorted, and objects thrown upward into the air. So these are all some of the severe earthquake caused the such type of the intensity, the higher level intensity. And another one, magnitude. So the magnitude will relate to the amount of energy released by the geological rupture causing it. So the amount of energy released during the earthquake will give you the estimate of the magnitude. Okay? So it is the measure of absolute size of the earthquake. It is the measure of absolute size of the earthquake, and without reference to distance from epicenter. So we can calculate without reference to the distance from the epicenter. So another one, there are 4 types of the magnitude. So one is Richter magnitude, body wave magnitude, surface wave magnitude, and the last one, moment magnitude. Okay. So here in Richter magnitude, so this is modified from modified values. And this chart will give you how the magnitude will vary. Magnitude of the earthquake has even the low magnitude of the earthquake also has what is the peak amplitude, whether in terms of the ground displacement, where it is close to the epicentral distance, that it is very close to the epicentral distance. As the distance increases, the epicenter to some other places. Okay, if the distance increases, where if your magnitude of where 2, the displacement of the ground will be very less. Okay, so that is the meaning. Okay. So minus 2 mm in log only. And suppose if it is of magnitude 3, magnitude 4, you can see how the displacement is observed as the distance increases, even for different magnitude also. So here, how this Richter magnitude is being measured. So Richter collected the recordings of seismic waves from large earthquake and constructed the plot between peak ground motion versus distance. The larger the energy of the earthquake, the larger the amplitude of the ground motion, okay, at a given distance. The parallel nature of the curves, the single number could quantify the relative size of the different earthquake. So this ML, Richter magnitude, that is equal to log 10 A minus log 10 A naught, where A is the amplitude of that earthquake. As already mentioned, during earthquake, we can observe, we can obtain three plots. Okay, so one is acceleration versus time, velocity versus time, displacement versus time. So here that the maximum value of that plot, that is called the peak ground amplitude. Okay, so whether that can be in terms of displacement, acceleration, or velocity. So that amplitude should be substituted here, A. Okay, so A naught we'll see. And Richter magnitude, so the magnitude can be calculated using this formula. M is nothing but log 10 A, where A is nothing but it is the amplitude denotes in micron, 10 power minus 6 meter. Okay, so the value should be substituted in micron. The amplitude of the earthquake should be substituted in micron. So if you substitute here, we can get the Richter magnitude of Richter scale magnitude of that particular earthquake. But this is suitable only for the properties of the time period 0.8 second and what is that? Yeah, and the station which is situated within 100 kilometer from the focus. Okay, so the station which is situated 100 kilometer from the focus or what is called the epicenter. Okay, so for such places only we can this formula is applicable. What if when the distance from the epicenter at which an observation is obtained other than 100 kilometer? Okay, so from the epicenter point to more than 100 kilometer, if you want to find out that moment magnitude, Richter magnitude, then you have to use this formula. Okay, so using first you have to find out by substituting the amplitude using this formula, then that value substituted here for other distances. So for other than 100 kilometer is this value m del. Okay, so where del is the distance from the epicenter, so that is other than 100 kilometer. Maybe it may be 200 kilometer or 300 kilometer also. For let us say for 300 kilometer, if you want to find out the magnitude of that earthquake. Okay, so if your recording station is present at 300 kilometer from the epicenter, then what is your the magnitude of that earthquake? So that earthquake, from the recording station you can get one amplitude. That amplitude should be substituted here. Since that recording station is situated at 300 kilometer from the epicenter, so we have to use this formula. So first, for 100 kilometer, the magnitude which is related to 100 kilometer should be used. Then that value should be substituted here. After that, since our recording station is present 300 kilometer, our 300 kilometer substituted here, then this value should be added along with this magnitude. So what is the value of revised or the corrected magnitude corresponding to these details we can find out. So this is our the Richter magnitude value. So I'll stop with this. You please join again. I hope all of you would have entered your registration number.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. If not, please enter your registration number in chat and please join again once again. Let me end the meeting now.